Welcome to Overwatch This. This is Jeff from the Overwatch team. Let's have fun today.
Hello everyone and welcome to episode 51 of Overwatch This. It is a spooky special because the Halloween event has started.
I've grown a beard especially.
Oh nice,
Yeah,
it's
thank
good.
you. Yeah.
It's really
it
realistic.
looks like I've had it for weeks. But...
Yeah, I know, right? Here with Ben as usual. I'm Matt. And yeah, let's just dive straight into it.
These Halloween skins are the best skins they've ever made.
Pretty good, aren't they?
So that's the end of the episode. Thanks very much for joining us. That's all I wanted to say. No, I think I think you could argue that maybe individual ones from previous events were maybe better, like depending on your personal preference and obviously the heroes you play and that sort of thing. But I think as a group of 8 skins, the Pirate Ana is really really good. The May one is really, really good. The kind of additional stuff that they've put with those is like one highlight intro for Roadhog that I think is really good. Yeah. And there's like a May emote where she like leaps like a zombie.
Well, she does the Chinese zombie,
looks
right?
ludicrous, but is really, really entertaining. But particularly Zenyatta, Zarya, and Symmetra's new skins are just ridiculous. Symmetra's is like absolutely beautiful. It's really, really well designed. Because it shouldn't really work because you're trying to make a human look like a dragon, which just isn't really a thing. But they've managed to both keep like her silhouette and her recognizability while totally changing kind of her hairstyle and the way her legs look and that sort of thing. I think that looks really really good. There's loads of really great little details on it. The gun, there's like an eye on the gun, and the eye like kind of moves around a little bit. That's really really good. The Zenyatta one has a load of different new lines.
Sure.
The ult is Embrace Nothingness instead of Embrace Tranquility, which is really, really cool. Again, there's like the balls that he fires have little eyes on them, and those move as well. Just like loads of really, really tiny little details that, I just think they're brilliant, and it is good to see that they can continue to one-up themselves with these legendary skins. And we'll talk a little bit about, how that's going to work going forward at the end of the episode. I mean, which ones jump out to you, Matt?
Definitely Zen. Like it's Cthulhu, right?
Yeah, it's just brilliant.
And I love the fact that the thing that Overwatch does so well is it's kind of branding those specific things to the character.
Yeah.
So obviously he's not got tentacles. He's got like sort of like mechanical kind of like bits coming out of his face. And the Zarya one is incredible. Right?
Apparently the Zarya one's quite controversial. I assume it's just because there's a lot of idiots in the world who. Well, it's fine to be wrong. It is fine, but you are wrong.
Kaplan did say that apparently within the studio, it's very split half and half, and it's like there's half that are wrong, and there are half that like
Kaplan
it.
thinks it's great, so it's probably great. I mean,
it's anybody that kind of as you well know from outside of Overwatch This, like I'm a bit of an 80s head. I love kind of like that stuff, and so the whole embracement of hair metal and kind of like it says let's get physical on the top.
I haven't seen anyone doing because she's got that.
She's got the aerobics 80s.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen the two combined.
Those two need to come together, and then someone
the music over the top.
Needs to. I mean, it's perfect, right? But as you say, they've been managed to one up, and even the mid-tier ones are nice. Van Helsing versus Dracula for McCree and Reaper. I think
the Reaper one is probably the worst. I think it's still good, but it just doesn't. Much
it doesn't pop, right?
I think the McCree one has lots of really nice details on it. But I think the interesting thing about it is that clearly, particularly the Zenyatta one, you can see this with somebody just went, "Oh, imagine if his face was tentacles," and then they designed it all from there.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that wasn't exactly what it was. Maybe it was like, "Oh, imagine if Zenyatta was Cthulhu or whatever." But his feet are the tentacles as well, and the design of his robe is like this cultist thing. Looks really good, and clearly a lot of thought goes into this stuff. And I think the artists for Overwatch have clearly been a huge part of why it's such a success because the characters are such a huge part of that, and it's good to see that it just kind of keeps going basically.
And I mean, Halloween was so iconic last year to one up Witch Mercy, right? And they've done better than that this time.
Screw Witch Mercy. She can get in the bin. That's because that is what it's like. It is so much better than the skins were last year. Even though the skins last year we thought were just so much better than the ones that came at launch, and if that can continue to redouble, goodness knows how good it'll be once we get there. Finally, on kind of the Halloween front, I was right, by the way. Halloween event would be
the better Ben check.
Well, we're going to call it Ben Watch now.
Rebranding. That's what all the cool kids
suggested
do.
this. This is exactly.
So anyway. Obviously, skins are one part of Halloween. The other part is always a new game mode, and we expect a new game mode when we get to an event.
And we sort of got one.
We sort of got one. Terror is back. It's Junkenstein's Revenge.
Yeah.
It's that again, and it is. There's been some tweaks, but it is almost exactly the same.
Yeah. So they added 4 characters. They added Genji.
Yeah.
Torb,
Yeah. Zenyatta.
Zenyatta, and oh goodness, there's one more. Widowmaker.
Yes.
That was the last one. There we go. So yeah, they added those 4 characters to it. You can now play it with any of those. They also added an infinite mode.
Well, so you can only play as those in the classic mode is still classic.
Oh
like it used to
really?
be,
So I
yeah.
didn't try the classic mode. I just went, okay, I'll just play infinite.
Yeah.
So
So infinite is where you can get those, and I understand why they've done this, right? Is because sort of like infinite, you have to go through 12 rounds. It's not on a timer and then do bosses like classic is. It's you have to go through 12 rounds, and then it's how many bonus rounds after that you can survive
And it
until
seems
the
to
door.
just like
gets broke.
start spawning them at random.
Oh
and
god, you'll get
I had
like
2 witch. So on the video that we put up on the channel last night, there was 2 witches at the same time, and I wasn't very good at aiming. They didn't heal each other, thankfully, but I wasn't particularly good at aiming. So it was
I
just
got
like,
to the point where there were 4 Roadhogs,
Right.
1 Mercy, and a Reaper
was
in.
it.
And like that was tough, and I can understand why they thought it's a good idea to have a character like Torbjorn part of this, right?
Yeah.
Because Torbjorn instantly gets like 100 more kills than anyone else because he's got a turret.
Oh,
that's
Torbjorn's
constantly-
like mad OP.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I played the first game as Anna because I was just like, oh, I'll just play Anna, whatever. And that was fine, but like we had like 2 healers, and it was kind of awkward. And then I played one as Torb, and you pretty much have your ult all of the time.
Yes.
You kill way more things than anybody else. You're like using your stuff all the time. It's super easy up until the infinite point, and then
Yeah.
when the infinite stuff happens, then it gets kind of ludicrous. And if your turret ever does go down, you're actually, you are quite a liability.
Yeah, it's really difficult to get it back up.
Yeah. So you played a bit of Genji as well.
I
You
did
said
play
that was
a bit of
okay.
Genji. Yeah. So Genji's quite good at like in the early stages when the enemies don't have quite as much health. You can kind of use swift strikes to pretty much take out like rip tires. That's a really easy way of scoring points. Later on, he's basically a boss smasher.
Right.
Because like you just pop your ult and you can sort of like carve up
sure, and then you
a
just
Reaper,
carve them up,
yeah.
and then you can do like your right click
Yeah,
headshot stuff and all that sort of thing. So yeah, that's what came with that. You can also play it with any heroes over in the custom game mode. Kaplan said that Mei and Diva were particularly OP, basically because in that mode, if you want your ult, you pretty much have it. Like quite a lot of the time. So obviously Mei can then just freeze everything in front of the door like basically all the time, and Diva can just blow everything up. And we expect that like Mei's wall probably messes with the AI quite a lot, particularly of the the basic enemies. So we think the best team probably be Mei, Diva, Torbjorn, and Mercy, because then you've got the damage boost. You have Mercy's Resurrect, you've got Torbjorn's turret kind of cleaning everything up, and then you have Diva and Mei kind of comboing together with you freeze everything and then you blow it up, and then you freeze everything and then you blow it up. So do give that a try. Do let us know if there's a more OP combination that you found. There's also a full Icon Wall redesign now. So they kind of went and spookified the entire map as Junkenstein's castle, which looks really nice. I haven't done a full fly through yet. We're planning on putting something up like that with this video, so hopefully it looks really good. But I mean, this is less than people expected, I think.
Yeah, I think so. The interesting thing is that we're obviously in our sort of second year, I guess, of Overwatch now. This is the first time we've come across like Summer Games was, I guess, sort of like I think people could have guessed from Summer Games that because that was Lucio Ball again, that maybe it was obvious that
I suppose so.
Repeated events
if we
are gonna be
thought about
repeated.
it, because all they did to Lucio Ball, they did change it quite a lot, but that was because their initial implementation wasn't particularly good. Like once it kind of got down to it.
But Junkenstein's Revenge was good.
Yeah, people
when
liked
they first
it,
put it
and
in.
then they improved on it quite directly with Uprising, and then people were expecting them to do something like Uprising again.
Yeah.
And just sort of didn't.
Yeah, we just got the same, and I think this is something maybe like I put your expectations into place now. I think in years to come, we'll always have like Halloween will always be Junkenstein Revenge, maybe for like the next 3 years.
Yeah.
And if Overwatch is still massively popular in 3 years' time, then they might do a special redux of Halloween. But what this does mean is that they can focus on other areas of holidays, right? So this year, everyone got a bit annoyed that like, why didn't we have Valentine's Day?
Yeah.
But we might get Valentine's Day next year because they don't have to do what were they doing at the time? They did Year of the Rooster.
The Year of the Rooster, and then after that they did Uprising, right? But between the two was Valentine's Day.
Yeah. So we might get that next time, and we might
similarly we might get oh god, what's the American holiday at the end of October?
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Sorry. We might get Thanksgiving event at some point. Maybe.
Oh yeah,
this
because
year,
they haven't had to
further
do
down the
so
line.
much for
Exactly.
for Halloween,
and
right?
maybe there's all sorts of stuff they could do. Like all sorts of holidays they could represent, Hanukkah, things like that. That are quite widely celebrated, but aren't usually put into games because the big 5 or 6 after.
Yeah, and it would be nice to see holidays from other cultures that are represented because people from all over the world play Overwatch, and also it is a multicultural game featuring heroes from all over the world. So it would be nice to see other religions, other cultures, other countries kind of national holiday sort of celebrated in the game.
And so the thing about all this is that I think within the next 24 hours, possibly it will have started by the time this video goes up. I think it's going to be a pretty significant backlash. People are going to be talking about a lack of content. Hopefully, people don't get too dickish about it, because there is a point there. Like there isn't as much content here as maybe you would have expected. There's 8 extremely good skins, but when it comes to actual gameplay stuff, and maybe that's what you care about, and the skins only work because of the gameplay. Like you can't just have a game that is just skins. That doesn't work. There isn't anything there, and it sort of makes me think about the future.
Right then, Ben.
Okay.
Tell me about the future.
Am I predicting the future?
I mean, tell me what you want. You've been there, haven't you?
Yes,
right?
I have. Yeah, my time machine's working quite well, actually. It's pretty good. So, we're coming up to BlizzCon, and we are going to, at some point, do like a BlizzCon preview show. We pretty much want to wait until we're as close as possible, so we don't get anything wrong. So that'll be, be in the next couple of weeks. They're definitely working on stuff, for example, with the Overwatch League. Obviously, we have a Christmas event coming up as well. But I think the stuff that we see at BlizzCon really needs to be quite big. There is a turning force against Overwatch that's been coming for the last 6 or 7 months, I would say, where people are a little bit sick of the competitive mode. It hasn't really changed. It's a very difficult game to balance. The Overwatch League stuff hasn't taken off, hasn't had a lot of transparency, for good reason, as we've talked about on the site and as we've talked about in videos before. But that doesn't stop the fact that there hasn't been a lot of transparency. The fact there's good reasons for it doesn't really matter to the average player. It's also still a very difficult game to watch, and so much focus being put onto that means that people are worried about it. And then, this Halloween event comes around and people are expecting, a huge, big Junkenstein expansion where maybe you play across the entire map or something like that. And then we just get the same thing again with 4 different heroes. And that is good and that's fine. But I think there is an expectation of a lot more stuff, and people are expecting something and they want something quite large. And I think even something along the lines of like a new hero won't actually do it. We'll definitely see some stuff about the Overwatch League. It has its own panel. I personally don't think we'll see a new hero, but even if we did, I don't think that's enough new stuff to keep people really, really interested. Last year was a bit different. Obviously, the game was newer and there was a lot more hype around it, but also like the build to Sombra had been 6 months long and that sort of thing, so there was a lot of excitement in seeing her. And this feels ludicrous to talk about, because the idea of a game that is as well supported as Overwatch is, for free, like you never have to buy a loot box, and honestly, like the worth of buying loot boxes isn't that high, and if you buy 50 per event, you're probably getting almost everything you want, particularly now, if you're playing quite a lot, which you should be, if you're willing to spend, on 50 loot boxes per event, then you probably have enough credits to do whatever you like. The idea of that, like even 2 or 3 years ago, was ludicrous. And like, if we talk like a little bit further back, when a subscription model was what people thought would work, and free-to-play games were still like coming up and weren't, this huge deal yet, the idea of this amount of content for free would be absolutely mad. But that's the expectation now. That is what people want. People always want to see stuff getting better. Overwatch, no doubt, is still making an obscene amount of money. It had its like highest ever player count or something like during the Uprising event and during the anniversary event and that sort of thing, and with the release of Doomfist. So it's definitely making a lot of money. But people need to see that turning into actual stuff that they can play, and they need to see it turning into stuff that they're interested in, and so far we haven't had that, and that's where this backlash is going to come from. Slightly connected to this is an issue of game design and communication. Like I said, it's a very, very difficult game to balance. I don't know if they're ever going to get it right. I think it's going to take a lot of time. It is not the same as a MOBA. There aren't enough characters for you to have a ban and pick system, which works as basically a release valve for balance issues. Like, if a Dota 2 character is massively overpowered, he'll just be banned in every game, and it's not a problem. People are like, oh, well, start memeing about it and laughing at it, but it is an actual issue game to game. If a character in Overwatch is broken in either way, that is a huge difference to the game, particularly if you main that character or you're particularly interested in that character. We've also had problems with communication recently, and I mean, this is literally in the last 24 hours. There was this thing where Lucio had this change on the PTR, which made it like more difficult or impossible to do some of his like really cool flashy stuff where you jump between walls and that sort of thing. There was a change to that. There was complaints about it on the forums. Kaplan came on the forums and say, hey, it's just a bug on the PTR, don't worry. Then it went to live and people were like, well, it's a bug, why didn't you fix it? And then Jeff Goodman came along and said, oh, actually, this part of it was deliberate. And it's like, you can't have your 2 big guys, and like their job roles and stuff don't actually matter at all here. It's Jeff Kaplan, the guy who posts a lot on the forums, and Jeff Goodman, the guy who posts a lot on the forums. They cannot be saying different things. I don't know why they don't have community managers doing this, like most other games do, particularly Blizzard games. Clearly they wanted to have a direct communication with their audience, but like, you can't have this happen. And then after that, they kind of made some more changes, and there was a post from another guy who posts on the forums quite a lot, which is Bill Warnock. He said, oh, we've now made some changes to this. at 11 p.m. California time. Whatever series of events that leads to your developers still being in the office and posting on the forums at 11 p.m. local time just shouldn't be happening. Like, okay, it's Halloween release day. That's going to be a busy day, but you can't have that sort of thing happen. And it all comes together to like make a problem where people are just going to get more and more frustrated with the game, more and more problems with the game design are going to become obvious, and people are going to be unhappy. And when you have unhappy people, you get this backlash. And then as toxicity grows within the community, the people who actually just want to kind of play the game and have some fun will start to leave. It kind of comes over into the skin side as well when you talk about how we're only getting legendary skins for events. Now, in the first year of events, as you were talking about, we got a lot more content because they just added more stuff because they had to, because it was, the event for the next 2 months or whatever. We got epics. We also had situations like when Alkenvold came out, where we just got 2 legendary Reinhardt skins out of sort of nowhere. I think maybe Blizzard don't realise, or maybe I misunderstand this as well, but this is what I see when I see people complaining a lot about cosmetics, is people want the legendary skins to be as good as they are. And we, as we were just talking, we want skins to continue to be that good. I don't want there not to be 8 new legendaries in each event. And if they're making 8 new legendaries for each event, and that means they can't make new epics for that event, fine. But I think that there needs to be a more regular rollout of less high quality content that is just new stuff that you go, oh cool, there's a new, this week they added a Sombra skin that was yellow or something, like palette swaps, just really basic stuff, rather than new particle effects and new voiceovers and new voice lines and new ways of moving and that sort of thing, and loads of really complex effects. If they can just do the odd palette swap, add a little bit of something here, and then that's an epic instead of a rare
system, maybe.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, there's whole systems you could build around that other games have done, particularly Destiny and League of Legends has a thing called a chroma, where you can just pick like what color you want a certain skin to be. I think if they start adding that sort of stuff, that would remove a lot of the complaints surrounding events and the feel that people are like, oh well, I have to buy 50 loot boxes to get all the skins. What you want it to be is there to be so many skins that people realise that they're not meant to have all of them, but that they continue to get new stuff on regularly. And you also don't want to just put like bad legendaries at legendary, because people don't want to go, oh well, I got this legendary skin instead of this really nice one. So you put them down at rare and you just make them quite simple. Exactly how much effort that takes, obviously making like a palette swap skin takes less effort than making Cthulhu Zenyatta or Dragon Symmetra or whatever, but I don't want to be that guy that says, oh, well, this would just take 5 minutes. Why don't you just immediately do this, Blizzard? Just use my idea, Because obviously that doesn't work, and that isn't how this stuff goes. It might be a pure, simple problem of not having enough artists, like just number of people, because somebody needs to work on their new legendary skin for the next event, and because you are making 8 of those, you need 8 people or 16 people or however many people that takes, and then that is your artist, your artists for the next month or whatever, and you don't have anyone who can do the quicker and easier work of just doing a palette swap. But I think that is a problem that needs to be solved. They are hiring people. Kind of the big post that we saw from Jeff Kaplan a couple of weeks ago, where he was talking about toxicity and how people communicate, was all about whether they just have enough developers on the team. They are always growing that team, and I hope to see that continue. But I think something here needs to change. It isn't super urgent, but I think it needs to change within the next 6 months, and we need to see something fairly impressive at BlizzCon, or we're going to kind of go down a road where there might not be any turning back in terms of keeping the excitement for the game and a lot of the passion in the game intact.
Well, what do you guys think? Do you agree with Ben? Do you disagree with Ben? Are you just happy to have a bit of fun in Overwatch? Let us know. There's a huge comment section underneath. It's just
infinite.
It's infinite. There's all the space. Just throw something there. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, give us a like, and why not subscribe for one of these every week. But until next time, good luck and have fun.